Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And we have the return of the Heavenly Conquest, the Storm Dragon event. Now, this event is fairly old. It comes and goes as time moves on. I have an entire playlist on the channel that I will link in the video description for a whole butt ton of teams that have been able to clear this event starting from January of 2023 is when it first came out, and at the time it was the hardest event in the game. But also back in January of 2023, that was before EX metas were a thing, and certainly before EX Unbounds were a thing. And now we're doing hundreds of millions of damage on teams, type neutral. So this event is not overly difficult nowadays if you have an okay team build. But if you need teams that are not shown in today's video, please take a look at this playlist. It's got a whole butt ton of other teams you can take a look at instead. But Veldora, for all intents and purposes, is a slightly annoying beatdown battle like EX2, essentially. A million HP, he's got a whole butt ton of buffs, he has a guaranteed counterattack turn, he can poison and frostbite and bind somebody, he can heal himself. Things that we've seen and are annoying, but we can definitely get around. There are also missions attached to this, so clear it with everybody alive, clear it with Veldora and Benimaru and Shuna and Gobta, and use 150 points and a free-to-play character and all physical and all magic. We can definitely get these missions done fairly easily nowadays. So we're going to go into this fight and use teams that have one of those units and are fairly recent-ish, or teams that people might have. And we're just going to stomp Veldora's ass, I guess. So let's build the first team and let's jump in. Alright, so we're going to start out with the Collab team, because it's the current meta. Rimuru, Shion, and Alphen are the only characters we're bringing from the meta. If you have the other ones, you have Hinata, it's going to be literally a joke, which this stage is kind of already a joke anyways. But in order to satisfy the missions, we are going to bring a full magic team, so we've brought a Shuna. There are quite a few Shunas you could bring, but this one is also magic, and she's got a synergy buff, which can work. We've got Violet for the magic buff and the orb change, Shion obviously for her crit. We brought the Wind Masked Hero. Now, if you don't want to bring this Shuna and you want to bring like light Shuna to orb steal, perfectly acceptable. You could do that too, and you could replace Shuna with like Exalted Champions Veldora, and that would be another mission because it'd be Veldora and it'd still be an all magic team. Really up to you. But we're going to nuke with Alphen, because he's a single target nuker, and he's free. So let's just kind of make him work as well as possible in not a lot of turns, because Veldora only has 1 million HP. We've literally seen this team do hundreds of millions, so the fact that we're bringing characters who are not super conducive to that shouldn't be a shock. But turn 1, we're kind of fishing for a turn 1 orb steal. If you can reset, the stage costs 0 stamina, so you can just reset until you get something useful or something you like. It could either be a Violet Orb change, or you could just get a 3-hand to steal with the hero, if that's what you want to do. But Alphen is a free-to-play character, which means he doesn't have an EX ult, which means then we don't need an EX ult for him. Unfortunately, we don't have any other orange orb changers, so we're kind of stuck here. You could bring another one if you wanted to instead, but here we're just going to send 5, because honestly, we're not really going to need that many points. So we got 5 orbs. They are buffed by Rimuru now. We're going to bring Shuna in. Honestly, I should have left Alphen up front, because it would have been better for the nuke turn. Oh well, we're going to find out that it's not super duper necessary. But the AoE ult here is substantial. Like, if your teams are not geared up, like, that will hurt a lot. Which is why we're trying to get this done in as quick as possible. So here, we're locked in for everyone except Shion, which is fine. I'm kind of thinking, and let's just go ahead and send the Shion orbs. We're going to get her ult as well, so in case Alphen cannot do the job fully, we'll have Shion as a backup. It's not an EX ult for her, but she's still going to have the crit buff, and she'll have a few of the other buffs, because we have 250 points, 55 because of the Shuna trait. If you don't have that, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I think you would just miss out on one of the buffs here. Probably the Shuna buff is the most the least impactful one. But guaranteed synergy and 40%, 50% synergy power. Take it or leave it. Let's bring Alphen in so he can get the magic buff and his own personal 200% alt buff. Shion gives the crit to everybody, so the only thing Alphen is missing is the synergy. And let's do one more stack of Rimuru, and then we'll just send these 2 alts and the 3 follow-up orbs, and yeah, we'll be out of here. So Alphen does 689 Alright, so he couldn't do it, and then Shion follows up with 400k. So, 4 turns, only, 2 of the summonable meta characters on the first banner, no Shion, no Hinata, a lot of other older characters, but that is the first clear. It is the full Magic team, it does have a Shuna, so that can work for you. Okay, so the Tempest Elite team, actually, I feel like is the team that they wanted you to use, because it covers almost every mission. A full physical team. We've brought Benimaru, we brought free-to-play Gobta, we brought Shuna, and we're gonna bring the old-ass Dark Veldora. Who the fuck has ever used him? And we're all physical, and we're gonna clear it. So that, it's 4, 5, 5 and a third of the missions, because you want to beat it 3 times. This team can get it done. And if you don't have the full thing, then don't worry about it. You can swap somebody out and use a different team to get one of those other missions. You can bring Blanc for all I care. She's physical too. She'll work fine. But this is going to work, because the gimmick that Trainee has, like, this team is not a good team. It's very old, and it wasn't really that fun to use when it came out to begin with. But Trainee has the follow-up orbs that are fire element, and she can rush somebody's ult for 100%, whoever has the highest attack, which is going to be Rimuru, our nuker character. And that means that Rimuru, with his 30% burn skill that lasts for 2 turns, we can get a lot of fire damage between his ult and the fire follow-up orbs. So we're going to play into that. So we sent into orbs here, we got access to Trainee turn 2, which is fantastic, so we give Rimuru the ult gauge right there. We're to send this full hand of blues that are now getting buffed because of Trainee with extra skill points. When this team came out, our skill cap was 100, and it was a whole lot worse to use. 150 does make it easier to run nowadays, thankfully. And then the fire follow-ups, boom, boom, like, they don't do a lot of damage. But all of that will slowly add up once we put the burn stacks on. Rimuru is locked in, so Shuna, not a big deal. We actually got a very lucky turn 3 hand, because we only need to convert with Benimaru. And then Gobta has the single ult swap. So let's apply a stack of burn now, because it lasts for 2 turns, and we'll nuke next turn, because we're going to use Trainee again, and that'll give Rimuru his EX ult. So we'll ult swap away here, boom. We will also use the 30% Pierce buff, which is not very strong, but it will last for a couple of turns. And then Trainee will again give us the follow-up orbs, rush his ult, so now on turn 4, he's going to have his EX ult ready to go. We're going to be pretty much capped out on points, if not just capped. Yeah, okay, there you go. And because we now have the burn stacks, we're going to do a little bit extra damage on that once everything is said and done. Not a lot, but any amount is good. And it does, 17k, whoop-de-doo. What really matters is when we ult, right? Because we have an EX ult, Rimuru has his attack and his personal buff, we're going to have the Shuna Pierce buff already active, we're going to have the physical buff and the ult resistance down from Benimaru. Veldora, honestly, is here just for the mission. Like, you could bring Exalted Champion Veldora for all I care, or some other character if you want. Again, you don't need to bring this specific team, but if you want to clear, like, a bulk of the missions in one run, this is the team to do it with. So, we've used all the buffs, we've applied the second stack of burn now, we're going to send the ult, and Rimuru's ult does 385k. Not a lot, but it doesn't need to be a lot, because of the burn kicking in. And the follow-up orb. So the follow-up of the ult is like 20% of the damage, so 76k, 5-6, and then we do 344k in burn. So there you go. 4 turns, not very difficult. The full team, yeah, I guess, might be a thing, but again, you don't have to bring this specific team. You could make substitutions, and it can make your life even easier. And at that point, maybe Rimuru just straight up kills him. You don't even have to wait for the burn. I don't know. But definitely a team that covers a lot of ground. Alright, let's make a joke of this stage. Warrior's mine. We brought Wind Veldora and Fire Benimaru just for the missions. We don't need them. They're literally not going to do anything. I didn't even gear them up. Gobwa, Shuna, Blanc, Violet. Or some combination of the two. Like Shuna and Blanc. It doesn't really matter. This team is going to make a joke at this stage. We have 2 characters that literally provide nothing for us except mission fodder. We are starting with 36 points, so we can actually use Violet's Rainbow Convert turn 1. And we'll just bring them in. So you could bring Violet in. We're going to swap Benimaru out because he literally has like no gear on, so he would die very quickly. But let's full Rainbow hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That gets a Blanc ult. All right, perfect. We have 73 skill points. We're actually going to nuke on turn 3 just so we can get a little bit extra stuff going for us instead of trying to force the nuke on turn 2. You could certainly, if you get like a full Rainbow hand, you could certainly nuke on turn 2 with this team and you'd be fine. Especially if you got like a 3-3 spread of Gobwa and Blanc, then he's really not going to be able to do much. So let's just send these Blanc orbs. We'll just get back up to like the skill cap or something, and then we'll nuke on turn 3, and it'll be hilarious. And we'll get a bunch of the missions done, because this is, again, a full physical team. We brought 2 of the required characters. We're going to clear it, obviously. So we've got 196 points, technically, because of Blanc's skill. So let's put the control on. Let's do the big time buff. Let's do the debuff, and the 40 points really doesn't allow us to do anything here, so we didn't really actually have to use that Blanc orange buff skill. But I do want to use Shuna because of the Dread debuff. And that means that all the elemental debuffs are going to be enhanced, and the alt resistance down, and the dark resistance down. 845k. Alright, didn't actually kill, but then Gobwa has a 121 normal attack, which means Blanc was going to do about that too. So, super difficult. Hopefully you guys can run this at least, or some variant of it. Maybe you don't have Violet or Gobwa, but I don't really think it matters. Alright, Schemer team. You know, you could traditionally nuke it with Sokka if you wanted to. Or you could just use the Sword Gimmick, you know, whatever way you want to go. But Soe, Laplace, Sokka, we brought Exalted Champion, Veldora for the Veldora team, or the Veldora mission, and the full, well, not full magic, sorry, my bad, because we got physical characters here. But we brought Shuna for the Triple Orb Steal and the Shuna mission. Rimuru to give us the extra attack buff. I promise you we're not going to need it. We actually play this very horribly. Not on purpose, but it does show you that you do not have to optimize this team. And as long as you can make it to turn 5 and have the Sword Gimmick active at some point, like, Veldora's going to die. The Sword Gimmick, like, when it's fully maxed out and you're getting a whole bunch of stacks and you've got a whole bunch of attack, like, the swords do, like, 180 million damage or something. So, Veldora having 1 million HP means that you really don't have to try that hard with this team. And again, if you just want a traditional nuke with Sokka instead, you can be my guest, and you can just give her all the buffs and do the synergy and do some other damage and everything like that, and the attack buff, and you'll probably just kill him outright. But here, I do want to use the Sword Gimmick because it is kind of funny. And I actually misplay here, and I don't actually use the follow-up orb skill from Laplace, which would have given us more hits. But again, just goes to show that you do not have to play this team effectively in order to get the W. And I also almost kill Sokka on the counterattack turn. So, you know, we're going up a little bit in the hits. We've got like 10 hits now. Wonderful. But every time we attack, Soe gives us, or with every hit, Soe gives us stacking attack. So we're Frostbite, we're Bind it in, Sokka's taking more damage. Alright, fine. We have Soe, so we can get a full hand convert here, and we can actually finally use the follow-up skill from Laplace, and that's about it. That's all we have to do. And at that point, we're just kind of coasting, because I'm confident that even with a small amount of hits and not a lot of attack stacking, Veldora is going to die on turn 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the follow-up orbs. It's going to really boost our hit rate up. We're not bringing Lumi, we're not bringing Diablo. You don't need to bring them unless you plan on traditional nuking, if you even have them. But as you can see, like, we're not even going for the traditional nuke route. And this turn, I mean, I'm going to send 1 orb. 1 orb, yeah. Thank you, bye. Veldora's going to ult. It's going to hurt. Yeah, it's going to hurt. And then he hits Sokka, I think. Or not. I send a Sokka orb, because I'm an idiot, and I don't just send her away. And then she takes the counterattack, because it's guaranteed counters, and there are guaranteed crit pierce counters. Thankfully, she doesn't die to the AoE, but the swords come in, and it does a couple 100,000 across the board, so yeah, I mean, we played that horribly, and we're still able to kill. So if that can do it, a lot of other things can do it. Speaking of a lot of other things, free-to-play Reckoning team. And if you have this full Reckoning team, then have at it. It just makes your life even easier. But we're going to use the free-to-play version because it's going to get the job done. Veldora doesn't do crap against Reckoning, or Vengeance for that matter. If you want to use the Vengeance team, Veldora does have a high attack stat, and he does crit and pierce, which means that Vengeance Veldora can seal that. And if you want to bring Vengeance Raphael on this team anyways, and protect yourself from it, you know, doubly, you can certainly do that. So, Turn 1, not great. 3 blues. We do have protection traits going on in the back characters, so the 3 blues plus those traits will get us access to free-to-play Carrion on turn 2. And, you know, we just need to use a few Reckoning stacks. Reckoning can do a lot of damage in 5 turns, especially if you really, like, force the stacks. And again, if you have other characters from the Sparkle of Youth team, it just makes your life so much easier. Because, like, if you have Hinata, then you literally cannot take damage. Like, he's going to heal you instead of doing damage to you. And every time you heal, you get Reckoning stacks, and then turn 5, you're just going to lightning, or he's just going to die. He's going to evaporate. Just like with the Sword Gimmick, he's going to die. Except this team, I mean, we're not even in danger, because we actually brought healers. And we have a heal charm on Carrion. So we're going to attempt to use the Shizu skills, because every time we do, we get 1 stack of Reckoning. This is a mostly free-to-play friendly team. Like, you can get Carrion out of the shop. You can't get Shizu, unfortunately. So if you don't have Shizu, but you at least have Carrion and you have an AoE heal charm, you can still run the team. You just bring some other green orb changers, bring another healer, like Trainee or something, Romerus, Octogram, and it'll still work fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, getting points, getting Carrion, and then again on turn 5, he is going to just evaporate from the Reckoning skill. So, yeah. The stage, very, very old. So it's really not a struggle for even free-to-play friendly teams in this day and age because of just the threshold of the stage when it came out 2 years ago. Over 2 years ago. Which is nice. It's free rewards, essentially. You do have to put a little bit of effort into it, but it doesn't take that much effort. So we're on turn 4. We're up to 9, 10 stacks right there. Alright, cool. And we can use Carrion again if we want to, but let's just go ahead and send 6 orbs here. And then on the counterattack turn, which is next turn, we'll send like 1 orb. And then he will die. Even if we are kind of low on HP. Because Isis is going to take some damage here. After this ult. He did counterattack her twice. So, yeah. Alright, she's kind of low. And so let's just get her out of here. And then we're pretty good. Like, we could get her out and send 1 orb and not do anything else here if we wanted to. But in the effort to try and make things work evenly, we're just going to do this. And use some skills, and use Carrion, and get the AoE heal charm going, and get a few extra stacks of the Reckoning stuff. And then we'll just heal. And so now we're up to 14, 16 stacks on them, 6 stacks on Trya, plus whatever's on Isis. And then counterattack, AoE hit, and then bye-bye, 1.4 million. And he only has like 1 million in change, so there you go. The Reckoning team comes back once again to haunt my dreams. And to end on a high note, the Frieren team, obviously. If the current Tales of Collab team can do it, Frieren team can definitely do it. We're not going to get a lot of missions right here. We're going to get the Shuna mission and the All Magic mission, and Shuna's here just as a replacement for Raphael for the poor souls who don't have Raphael. But it really doesn't matter here. This is not a difficult stage for this team. We know Fern can do oodles of boodles of damage, and we've seen other teams throughout this video do, not great damage and still kill. So we got a good hand for her. We can just steal off of these and give it to Fern, who is our single target nuking character. Yeah. I don't know what else you want me to say. There's only so many ways I can say that most teams nowadays can beat this stage. Part 2, if they introduce, like, the Emils fight or something that is much more difficult and has stage restrictions, that could be a bit more challenging, and I kind of hope they do, personally, for my own sake, but it's not a requirement. We're going to use Stark to alt swap away, which means that Himmel has 3 orbs to convert here, plus 20% stack of element buff. We're going to get the Fern EX alt here, so she'll be locked and loaded and ready to go. We'll bring Violet in for the trait, essentially. We're going to get Fern's trait as well on turn 3. We've got another stack of Himmel already. Thank you for the counterattack. Unfortunately, we do get Fern locked in. And I am unsure if 2 buffs from Fern can actually kill here. Like, I feel like it should. But I'm just going to go an extra turn just in case. So, Fern and Frieren are locked. Stark is not, so Stark can come in, we can use his alt swap one more time, and we can do the actual, the taunt and the grid, and then we'll use one more stack of Himmel, and then we'll nuke on turn 4 with full certainty that we're going to kill. So, if you want to try and nuke on turn 3 and you have like a different team build than this, and you're going to kind of rush more cheaper damage buffs just to make Fern hit hard, certainly applicable. Like, have at it. If you want to bring some other characters who are going to do some of the missions, certainly do that too. You don't need the full team. But here, we've got 3 alts, we've got a full 6 Ansen, we've got 250 points, so we can at least use the Frieren alt buff and synergy, and then Fern's personal buff, and then another stack of the synergy down from Stark, and that guarantees 100% that Fern herself is going to kill. And if you wanted backup alts, you certainly have them. But Fern does 1.3 million damage right there. So, there we go. And that'll do it for at least this video. I don't know if I'm going to actually do more. I might do more just for funsies to test out some of the older teams that we haven't used in a while. But again, if these teams don't work for you, please check out the playlist that I have for this event. Lots of the other old teams are going to be covered in there, so if these don't work for you, one of those probably should. But that's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.